Five ways to build a support system among family members. Coming up at 7 a.m. Stay tuned. Hey, hello, and good morning, everyone. John Henry Soto here. Welcome. It is 7 a.m. It is April 27th, 2021, and hope everyone's having a wonderful morning out there and had a wonderful evening. And it is Tuesday, actually, believe it or not. And today we're going to be talking about a few interesting things. Had a good day yesterday. Hung out with my kids as I do every day, and went out with my son. My son is getting he's so smart. And I know it's bias, obviously, because he's my son. I'm not gonna say my son's such a dummy, right? Nobody ever says that. Well, I suppose some people do, unfortunately. But my son is just very, very smart. But he's also not smart in the sense that he just knows a lot of things. He's just very witty. He's very quick. He's very he says things, and I wish I could record him all the time saying these things. He's too fast, and I'll try to write down stuff, and I'll try to share some of the things. But yesterday we were at Walgreens. He's trying to figure out what to get. He's been really good, so I wanted to get him a little something. So I said, "What do you want to get?" He's like, "I don't know. There's so many things. I don't know what to get. I like that, and I like that." And I was like, "Well, you can only get one, so you have to decide which one you want." He's like, "I know." And I said, you got a problem. You're going to have a situation you're going to have to figure out." He's like, "I know." So I said, "Why don't you stay here and I'll go home and I'll come pick you up when you're ready." Of course, I'm kidding. And he looks at me. He's like, "I can't stay here. There's no cozy bed here." He says, "There's no cozy bed." So I said to him, I said, "Why don't you get a ball and a bat and we can go to the park and we can play?" He goes, "Yeah, but no." Then he just walks away. It's just funny. I mean, I guess you have to be there, right? But I was there, and it was funny. And we're going to be talking about family today. We're going to be talking about five ways to build a support system among family members. Sometimes family members not always are blood relatives, right? It can be very close friends, a group of people that you just consider family, probably more than your real family sometimes, right? And so this can apply to everything, obviously. So let's get started. If anybody has any questions or any comments or just want to say hello, please just type it in there into the little box. Use your keyboards and your fingers and let me know what's up. All right. So, as they say, blood is thicker than water, but you can still drown in blood as well. So, um, you have to know certain ways of communicating, and you know, family can sometimes be a little tricky because they're the people that are around you the most, and they're the ones that are not afraid to tell you certain things, which can be good at times, but it could also be painful. So you need to know how to balance those comments and those emotions. And a family member will be the first person to tell you you can't do something, right? You shouldn't do something, or you're not able to do it, or it's been done before. Don't even bother with that. My wife was told that as a child, about doing certain things like art. Whatever you've done has been thought of already and has been done. Can you imagine? I can't imagine. I cannot imagine saying something like that to my children. But family members are like that. And I think part of it is not always coming from a dark place. Maybe you may have family members that live in a dark environment, but I think it's coming from a place of protection, or fear that you'll be more successful than they are is another one. But it's also they want to protect you. They don't want you to be hurt. They think that you can't make it because they can't. I can't make it. How are you going to make it? You know what I mean? I can't be successful. How are you going to be successful? And that goes with not just family members, but that goes with friends, acquaintances, and people that just look at you and roll their eyes. Oh, there he is again trying to do this thing. And I know that I get that constantly. I'm at an age right now and in a comfort level of my life where I really don't give a crap what anybody says, but there are a lot of people out there who actually do fall into this, unfortunately. So we're going to cover a little bit of how to actually build a support system among your family members, right? The first one is to share appreciation. You have to show your family that you care about them. If your family doesn't appreciate something at home or at work, let them know. If a family member does something impressive at home, let them know. Appreciate them for what they're doing. It can be something as simple as making you laugh. It could be also just spending time with you, saying thank you for spending time with me. I do that with my son a lot. My son will just do something that I said to do. I said, "Can you pick up your pants and put them into the hamper if you don't mind doing that?" And he'll do it, and he'll do it. All right. And I said, and we'll do our stuff, and then I'll wait a few minutes, and then later on, I'll go, Ben, I just want to say that I want to thank you for listening to me and putting your pants in. I think that was really nice. You said it, you did it with no, and he was like, "Yeah, I'm getting better, Dad." And he'll go into a whole speech about it. But he'll suddenly just come right up, and he'll feel better, and it just makes people feel appreciated, validated, and just wanting to be around you more. And that's really what you want. When you express gratitude for your family members, it's one of the best ways to build relationships. Okay. Number two is quality time. This is a almost become a cliche kind of a thing, right? Where people talk about you got to spend quality time with your family. Now, what is quality time? What does that really mean? Sometimes it can be people sitting in the living room and everybody's on their devices, right? Is that quality time? It might be for some people. They might be doing exactly what makes them the happiest, sitting with the family on social media or on their platform games or whatever they're doing, and that might make them happy. I know that for me, if I'm working or if I'm on my social media tablets and my kids are on their tablets, I'm actually satisfied with that because I can look up and say, "Oh, you guys are hungry. You guys want to go do something. You want to go out? I'm there. I'm with them. They know I'm there. I don't just let them stay for hours without communicating to them. Obviously, that's damaging. But I know my wife doesn't like that. She likes everyone put your tablets down, face down, take 10 steps back, put your hands above you. No, wait, that's something else. It just brings back memories. But she wants you to put down your device and step away. And that's her quality time. So you have to kind of make certain adjustments, find out what exactly is a quality time for you and find out what is a quality time for, why am I keep getting lost on the I Love My Own page. They were having some issues and they sent me a message. So anybody is watching on the I Love Bayonne page, you just lost me. But oh well. Um, so you get you have to get to understand what exactly is quality time for that specific family member, right? For the people that are in your family, what actually makes them happy, right? Um, Hold on one second. I apologize. Little distraction here while I remove the Isle of Bayonne page, which just popped up saying you've been kicked out of it. But they did send me Facebook was having a little bit of an issue with connecting uh, live streams. So I apologize to anybody who lost me there. I will download this and then share it again onto that page. All right. Quality time, very important. So you have to find the quality time that actually is going to give attention to each person, right? Give your children, your partner, full attention when spending time together, right? Turn off your phones and really try to get to know them. I like to have conversations with my kids. My daughter, who's 10 years old now, she's a little lady now. She fixes her hair and puts her earrings on, and She, wears, she's a lady now. And I'm grateful because I had a lot of time growing up with her, and we did the homeschooling thing for a long time, and then she went to school for about 4 or 5 months, and then COVID hit. But I was grateful that at those young ages, my wife and I both traded off jobs, and really lived a very, 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 a very frugal existence, or very modest, I should say, not frugal, but very modest life, in order to have that. We didn't buy a car, we didn't buy a house, we didn't do a lot of things that we could have done had we both been working. When we both met, we were working, making good money, and but we wanted to spend time with our children. So we came up with solutions, and we came up with ideas on how to do that, and we're grateful we did it. But as now she's getting older, I want to be able to make sure we still maintain that closeness, while she's becoming a young lady. Same thing with my son, so that's very important, is to have that quality time. um, and then leading right into the next one, which is healthy communication, number three. And healthy communication, um, I'm Puerto Rican, right? So this will be you know um, not accurate for everyone. We were never really a loud family. I know some people, we never really yelled. We were loud during holidays. We get together, there's music playing. We're typical, 8 o'clock in the morning, and that was totally workable for us. Some families communicate differently. We didn't yell at each other, but we were loudspeakers. I remember a quick story. A good friend of mine was the lead singer of my band, right? Holland Cowger, great guy, and a great singer too. And he came over to visit my grandparents when they were alive, living up in the Bronx, and we had just started the band. I don't know if we were roommates. We had just become, maybe we became, maybe not roommates, whatever. But we were hanging out a lot, writing music and stuff. And so he came over to have some Spanish food that my grandmother made, and he loved it. I mean, he was just in heaven eating my grandma's cooking, and he still talks about it. And but we were in the kitchen area. It's kind of an open concept space. We were in kitchen area, and my grandfather was sitting on his rocking chair where he always sat by the window, and my grandmother's in the kitchen. And so my grandfather wanted my grandmother to see something on the television. It was important for her to come over. So he yells in Spanish, Mira, ven acá, que quiero enseñarte algo. Ven acá, ven acá. And she's like, Espera, que estoy cocinando. And she's like, wait, I'm cooking. I can't go right now. Just give me a second. And Holland, who doesn't speak any Spanish, he's sitting there like, why are they fighting? Why are they fighting? And he's like, no, he just wants her to see something on television, and she's busy. And they're not fighting. And he was like, "You sure?" I was like, "I'm positive." But that was just the way that was a healthy communication in our home. He really wanted her to see something on television. I don't know exactly what it was, but that was healthy for us. For me and my kids, it's a little bit different. I like to take walks. I've always been a big walker, coming from New York and not driving. I love walking. And when I got to Queens, when my wife and I moved out of East Harlem, because we couldn't really do a lot of walking in East Harlem, but I had a great apartment there. But when we left that apartment, we moved over to Sunnyside, Queens, and we would take these wonderful walks, and just walking around Sunnyside, the nice restaurants. Whenever we could afford to eat in one of them, we would go in and get some nice food. This was before kids, so we could eat. We actually did eat out a lot in nice restaurants. And we took walks to the parks, and there was a couple of parks there, and we would just talk. And that was our healthy communication, because I would always, I've always been a very um, optimistic person. Growing up where I grew up, you had to be somewhat optimistic, or you cave into the environment, right? But I was always very optimistic, and I said, "Yeah, we're gonna get, don't want to, because we were talking about having kids and we were having a little bit of issues with the kids. And I was like, no, I just feel like it's going to happen. I just know it's going to happen. We just have to believe it's going to happen and just keep praying and postulating into the future that it's going to happen, and just keep that energy going. And we would have these long conversations and these long walks. Sometimes we would walk from like New York City, Manhattan to Queens, and or vice versa. We would just walk, and it'd be that long across the 59th Street Bridge, and just talking and planning our future and stuff, and the future that we have. And there's more future that we keep talking about. It's really a healthy way for us to communicate when there's nothing around and it's just us talking. We still to this day will be in the kitchen, and for 2 hours sometimes we'll have a conversation about a certain thing that we want to accomplish. And maybe I'm working with her on trying to see the upside of things, and maybe sometimes I get a little bit into my own head and I need to kind of like, and she helps me kind of come out of that. But having a healthy communication is important, and that just spills over to our children, right? We take walks with my kids, and when I'm walking with my kids, I'm asking them questions. So, what do you think of that building right there? Or what do you think about this? We'll talk about homeschooling. We'll talk about different things that we learned during homeschooling. I'll ask them questions about how are you feeling? Are you happy? What are you thinking about? It's probably annoying to them, but it does bring out something, and they do actually communicate. They're pretty open about it, and I'm very excited that they're able to get there, and to really communicate. So healthy communication, very important. The next one, number four, is develop strong problem solving skills. So solving problems, children learn from their parents, right? How to interact with the world around them, including how to handle challenges in life. If you can't handle a challenge in your life, trust me that your kids are going to grow up not being able to handle challenges in your life, in their lives. So parents should always model positive ways to handle life challenges. They should also allow children, to solve their own problems. Like sometimes, like yesterday, I was mentioning we went to Walgreens, and I said to my son, I said, "Well, you got two things. You got a bit of a situation there. How are you going to solve this? What are you going to do?" And he's like, "Well, maybe I can get this one now, and then if I'm good later, I can get the other thing." There you go, problem solved. He came up with that on his own. A lot of parents would be like, "No, you can only get one, and that's it. Hurry up! I don't got a lot of time." And suddenly they just shoot that kid down, and his ability to resolve his own problem has been taken away from him. And people, I see that all the time. But we tend to give them opportunities, and here's the opportunity to solve your own problem, and it develops their skill, and it's going to help them for the rest of their lives. It's going to make them feel like they're way more capable of handling anything as they get older, because the problems will get a little bit harder and a little bit harder, and it'll be on a nice gradient. You're not going to give them all the problems, especially if you have a situation like a financial problem or something you have to resolve that's pretty serious. You're not going to throw it onto the kids, right? But let them get their own way and make their own way, being able to solve their own problems. So that is number four. Number five, the last one, is individual accountability. So this is a tough one for a lot of people in general, kids, adults, doesn't matter. But healthy families always hold individuals accountable for their behavior and are supportive in times of need. And all family members, need to be held accountable for what they do and what they don't do, right? Being part of a family, you have to be able to rely on others. You have to be able um, to be there for someone else, and you have to also make sure that those people are there for you. Hold people accountable for those things. Helping them through tough times will bring a family much closer together. And accountability goes a long way for a lot of things. We hold our children accountable to a lot of things, and we don't always succeed on everything, but we make sure that they understand that that's not okay, and that that's something that you need to resolve. And again, going back to number four, helping them solve their own problems, kind of guiding them, that becomes a huge thing. But accountability in a family is important. You have to make sure that that uncle that comes in and says things is held accountable for what he says. I remember growing up. Excuse me. Give me 1 second. Early morning, and you're starting and you're talking. It's like your voice gives out. But I used to have family members that would come into the household, and they would be completely, they forget the kids are there, forget anybody is around. They're gonna say and do things and behave in ways that are just not really acceptable. Now, I had some tough women in my life that I grew up with. Tough women. It's one of the reasons why I married my wife. My wife's a tough lady. She's been through a lot. She's smart, she's caring, but she's tough. What I mean? She's going to tell you what she feels. She's going to not hold back on certain things. And I like that. And I grew up that way. My grandfather was a little bit chilled out, but my grandmother was no nonsense. And my aunts, Titi Lula, Titi Mary, Titi Toya, all my aunts, that I grew up really being around a lot, were very tough women. And when their brothers, who were older men, some of them like to a little bit, when they would come in, there was no, you do not mess around. It's like, no, you do not come in here and behave that way, and they would put their foot down, and these men would be like, okay, okay, all right, fine, fine. And I would see that, and I just remember being, they were being made accountable for their behavior, for their actions, and that always stuck with me. Those images and those conversations always stuck with me. And, they would come, our houses were, the Puerto Rican household, when you all, I don't know if that's still the case today. It might be. I'm not really sure. But, a lot of families live in one of the tenements, so you knew you can go up and down and go visit other, I had my cousins that lived there. I would go visit them, and we would open it. My grandmother would open the door, and I would walk, because I had to curve around the building, but it was on the same floor, but she couldn't see me. So when I get to the door opens, my other cousin would be like, "He's here. You can close the door." And she's like, "Okay, I'll see you later." And we would lock the door, and that was kind of like our thing. And but we were all in this building, so my uncles would just walk into the house, go to the kitchen, serve themselves some food, sit down, eat a plate, see you later, and leave. They would come to my grandmother's house and eat. They would come to Titi Lula's house. They would, Titi Toya was down the hall there, and it was all a lot, just very loving, and it was very casual. So even to this day, like, people come into my house and they're like, "Can I get some water?" I'm like, "Yeah, go ahead." I'm going to the kitchen, open the refrigerator, make yourself at home. I have no problem with that. And that's never been an issue for me. I know some people are very touchy. Well, don't be touching my stuff in my kitchen. I don't do that with other people, because I know that that's not a popular thing. So I don't. So you could invite me to your house, and I promise I won't go into your refrigerator. Maybe. But I think that created this wonderful accountability for everyone growing up, and I felt it. I felt the love, and it, because it was never done like in a really mean way. My grandparents, or the women in my grand aunts and my grandma, were very religious people, so they didn't curse, they didn't use any kind of profanity at all. I don't know where I got that from, but actually, I've been a lot better lately. Trying to cut down on that because of the kids. But they were very, very in control of the household, and they did it through love, and they did it through making others accountable. So that's number 5. All right, folks. So I hope that was of value to do. Is 5 ways to build a supportive system among your family members, or just a bunch of close friends that you get, that you really love, and feel like it's a family, right? Sometimes you feel more closer to someone that you met 10 years ago than you do to someone that you've known your whole life, right? But I hope that was of value to all of you. I appreciate it. If you like these videos, please like, share, subscribe on my YouTube channel. Let people know that I do this every morning, Monday through Fridays, from 7 a.m. to about 7:24, 7:25. I try not to keep it. I try to keep it around 23 to 25 minutes. And I'm just talking about certain things that I think are of value. And I get also ideas from people that watch. They send me ideas, and I have a whole folder here of ideas that I put together. And every day I have some new topic and some new conversations. So I hope you enjoy it. And I will see you all tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. I appreciate all of you for being here. Remember, make today great. Do the things that you love. Take care of yourselves. And I'll see you all tomorrow. And as always, peace.